Alright guys, we're doing things a little bit different this week. I'm now putting the drawer fronts on the drawers and also putting the handles in because I had to wait for the handles to come so I can put the drawer fronts on, and then I can set the toe kicks into position ready for the cabinets to go on. What I've had to do is it's taken me a while to sort it out and get it right, so I'm going to show you the finished product and then I'll go through how I did it. Here's the drawer front, all done with the push to lock button. So I push it on, pull the drawer out. That's the mechanism behind, and when you push the button in, it brings up the little latch to lock it. So we shouldn't have any troubles with drawers opening and doors opening. I've got them for the whole lot. Now, as you can see, I've had to cut the drawer itself out, and I've also had to cut the actual drawer front down a little bit so this would fit properly the button, otherwise it was sitting back too far in. Then when I did take a bit off, I took too much off, so the button was sticking way too, or was sitting out too far. So I've had to put another bit in, which I've had to shave off a little bit as well, and put it back in its work. So it was really fiddly. Then the next problem I had, when I went to get the drawer out, I couldn't get the drawer out because of this was sitting on the back of the drawer itself, so I had to notch that out so I could get the drawer out as well. So it's all been fun and games. I'm going to have to just tidy that up a little bit, but it's now working. Oops, you got to make sure you leave the button open, otherwise it doesn't close properly, and then you close it. So that's come up all right. Anyway, I'm going to show you how I did that all now. Morning guys. So being that I've just showed you what I've done with the drawer fronts and the drawers, I'll show you what I'm using, and then I'll show you how I've done it as well. Picked these up off eBay. I will leave a link down below. They're just a push button drawer lock and door lock. Now it's made of, I think it's ABS plastic, and this part here is of some sort of metal as well. They're light. How good they're going to go over time, I don't know. Now these are supposed to go from a depth of 14mm to 27mm deep doors or drawers. Well, on the ones I've done, they haven't done that deep. The drawer fronts I think are about 18, and I had to router out a bit of the drawer to make them fit properly. Anyway, you'll see that as I go through, but that's what they are, and that allows us to lock it when we drive so they won't come open. So what I'm doing with the drawer fronts, I'm measuring it across, so it's 450 wide, which is the same for all the drawers. So I'm going half that distance to get the middle of the drawer. So that's, what did I say, 450, so that's 225. So I'm going to mark that. So that's the centre of the drawer. Also going to double check the other way, 225. Now the push locks are from side to side 78mm, so I'm doing 80mm just to give it a little bit of clearance. So all I'm doing is measuring 40mm from the either side of that centre point. Just do a straight line down. And from the top to the bottom was 46 for memory. Let me just double check that. Yep, 46mm. So actually I'm going down 48. Just give me a bit of clearance. Just mark it, and I'm going to cut this part out with the jigsaw. So that, the problem being is if I leave this in and with the drawer front on, it's way too thick and I can't use the door handle, won't go through because as you can see, it's pushing to get through that. So I cut this out. I also have got to cut the back out for the little lip for this part here, which goes up on the top of the drawer frame. But when the drawer slides through down to the bottom, it's got to have clearance so it'll go through here. So I've got to mark that out as well. So, and I'm also going to take out about that much of it. So I'm going to get the jigsaw and start to do that so you can see it on the time lapse. Alright, so I've cut that out now. I've also cut the lip out on the back. That is so when the drawer goes in, this little catch sits on the front there, that it goes under that, so it doesn't get hit on that. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the drawer front out and set that up, show you how I've done that. Alright, so this is the drawer front. I'm just setting it up against the front of the drawer. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to equal it up along the top and the bottom and the sides. It's going to be a bit closer to the top than the bottom because I've got to make sure I've got clearance for the flooring. I've also drilled some countersunk holes for the screws. Once I've got the drawer in place, I'm going to clamp it down as such to keep it in place. I've got this rags to put on there so I don't scratch the front of it. Once I'm sure it's all in place, then I'm going to use the 8 gauge 30mm screws to screw through. Now you don't want to go too far because you don't want to punch through this side. I shouldn't do. I haven't done, so you just got to be careful, that's all. So let's get on to that. Alright, so it's clamped on. You can see the little gap more down the bottom. It's tied on the side. A little bit on the tops. And now I can screw through with the screws. Alright, so I've drilled through with the screws now. Let's take off the clamps. I just put some backing board in there to fill it out so I could put the clamp on. As you can see at the moment there's a bit of a gap, but that's okay because I've got to work on this part. I don't want to screw it completely in yet. That's why there's a gap, but that'll be pushed nice and tight when I get through finishing this part of the drawer. So now what I'm going to do is going to mark around here with the pencil and across the top to make sure I know where I'm going. Then I'm going to route out, it's probably about 2mm, maybe 3 of the back of the drawer. So when I put the lock on, it will come through and sit nicely on this side of the drawer. I've also got to drill a hole out for it, so I've got to work that out as well. Alright, so I've marked around here with the pencil. As you can see, I've taped it all off because I'm going to be routering out a section, this section in here. But for the time being, I've got to drill a hole through here for the lock to go through. I've measured down 26, that's how far it is, and it's in the middle of both of those. I've put the tape around here so when I drill, it doesn't stuff up the finish, and also on the other side of it as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill through here first, so the hole saw bit will just poke through the other side. Then I'm going to turn it around, flip it over and drill the other side. Now another thing that's a bit of a problem with this is you've got to drill a 26mm hole for this to fit through. The problem is I can't find a 26mm drill bit or hole saw. The closest I can get is 25, so what I'm doing is I'm doing a 25mm hole, and then I'm putting in just a normal bit and going around the edges to open it up a bit. So that's another stupid thing with this thing, but for the price you can't complain. I think I got, from memory, I got 20 of these for 70 bucks. So anyway, let's get into drilling through here now. Okay, so I've drilled the hole through. This is a 25mm hole. As you can see, it doesn't push in. It's just a bit, the hole's just a bit small. So what I do is I've grabbed another drill bit and put it onto the end of the drill, and I'm just going to go around the sides of the hole just to open it up a bit so that latch will go in. Alright, so I've cut it more out, and as you can see it's starting to fit. I've got to go just a little bit more and then we should be fine. Okay, so I've drilled that hole out a little bit more and the handle goes through now. What I've done now is I've taken out the little bit of the tape that was there, and this section here that's left open is what I'm going to route out to a certain depth. I use this on the first two I've done, and as you can see it's not a great depth, that it's probably a couple of mil that I'm routing out just to make sure the handle fits properly. Alright, so now you can see where I've routed out, and that's where the lock's going to sit. I'm going to fix the lock now, and then we can get ready to put this drawer front back on the drawer. Okay, so that's how the lock's going to go in. There's two sizes of screws. The longer ones are for the locks and the shorter ones for the latch. Alright, the lock's in. Click on it, pushes the lock up, brings it down. So you've got enough room to hold it and push it in. It probably could come out a little bit more, but I'm worried the screw will go through, so that's fine. Now I can put the drawer front on, back on the base, and I've also got to put the little latch on the drawer frame. Alright, so I've flipped the drawer frame over to put it on the top of it. I've measured halfway again like I did with the door lock, put the mark there, and then I've measured half each side of that for the latch. So let's put it together and see whether that worked. Alright guys, that's it done. I've screwed the front back onto it, and there it is set up. That's it locked, unlocked, and it closes, and when I lock it, lock comes up there and she doesn't move out. So there you go guys, that's how the push lock for the drawer fronts go in. I've got one more to go to finish off the toe kicks completely, and then they can go into the bus ready to go. So once again guys, we do appreciate you watching our videos, taking the time out of your day to look at them. If you're liking what we're doing, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the like button, because it helps us in YouTube. And I hope your build's going well. I know it's a bit yuck again here in Queensland this weekend. Hopefully it'll clear up, but I'm just going to keep going as much as I can. So I hope you have a good weekend, guys, and we'll talk to you next week.